God started telling him, he's like, okay, out of these seven, out of the sons, there should be one that is chosen. So he started choosing, and he started saying, well, he started judging by their appearance. He started saying, well, this one looks like if God is asking for him, like God is talking, like wanting him. Maybe it's him because he was strong. He was like maybe he might lead God's army. So then God told him, he's like, don't judge by the appearance. That he's not the one I'm looking for. So then after that, Samuel was like, okay, that's not him. So he went by all the seven, and it was none of them. At last, he told Jesse, he's like, Jesse, do you have, and are these the only sons you have? He's like, no, I have one more, but I don't think you're looking for him. He's like, well, bring him, because I think that might be him. So he brought him, and he told him, he's like, this is my son. My son takes care of sheep and goats. That's all he does. I don't think he'll be good for whatever you're looking for. So then he told him, he's like, the first sight he saw was, he heard the voice of God. He's like, that's him. That's the one I'm looking for. And so then he got him, and he took him with him, and they went to go meet King Saul, Saul, and when they got over there, King Saul was actually looking for someone also to guide his army. No, not to guide his army. So someone that was used by God. He was looking for someone that was used by God. And mainly what was wrong with King Saul was that he was always tormented with bad spirits. So when David would play the harp, the bad spirits would leave. So that was one thing that God used David by also. David listened to God in ways that he didn't let nothing get to him. He would back up God in everything he did. Later on in the story, it says that he meets up with Goliath. He ends up meeting up with his brothers. It was in the battlefield. He ends up meeting with his brothers, and he's there, and he's talking to his brothers, and his brothers are like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, I came to see how you guys are doing." And they're just there, and then they're like, "You need to leave. You can't be here." And then he hears that Goliath is talking so much stuff about God, and that's when David stands up and he's like, "Who are you? Who are you to curse and talk bad about my God?" And that's when David told him that, and Goliath was just like, "No, who are you to come up to me?" And later on, it says that King Saul looked for David, and he wanted him to, because he was the only one that stood up for God, and no one else like was wanting to stand up to Goliath. Only David. So then later on, it says that David got chosen by King Saul, and that David got chosen by King Saul, and okay, yes, he got chosen by King Saul, and then King Saul started giving him all this armor, in which was the shield, the sword, the helmet, the breastplate. I don't know if he had like any belt or anything, but all that was heavy. That weighted up to like 3,000 pounds, and that's what Goliath would wear. That's what Goliath would wear. So mainly Goliath was wearing a lot of pounds on him, and and David told King Saul, "I don't need this." So he took it off, and he's like, I don't know what it's called, but I think it's a sling. There you go, slingshot. He's like, I got my slingshot. That's all I need. So then, in the Bible it says when he confronted Goliath, he went up to Goliath and he they were just facing each other and Goliath made fun of him. He's like, "You are coming up to me," and that's when David didn't say anything at all, and David was just there and he's like, "Yes, it's me." And then he started making fun of him. He started talking all these things about him, and then he's like, "Yes, it's me that I'm coming up to you." And Goliath started telling him, "Well, I'm gonna take your head." And David's all like, "Well, we'll see." In my version, I took it like, "Okay, we'll see about that." And ends up being that David um, pulls a slingshot, puts a pebble in there. I think no, it wasn't a pebble. It was right. No, yes. A rock. Okay, it was a rock. Rock, pebble, it's the same thing. Okay, well, he puts the rock in the slingshot, and it ends up hitting Goliath right here in the front, and that yes, okay. Well, it throws him down, and it knocks him out, and that's when David comes and he cuts his head, and mainly what he was doing was he was defending God. He was backing up God in the words that he wanted. David listened to God in different ways. Also, how I was saying. I'm gonna compare Noah also. I don't know if any of you guys know Noah, but Noah was the only follower of God left in his generation. Noah was the second father of the human race also. Mm. Some lessons from their lives, from Noah's life that he taught and that he took for himself was learn he learned that God is faithful to those who obey him and trust him. When you obey God, it's bringing a long life commitment. God, okay, good. And one main point, I'm just a child. I'm no parent, but I take this like I guess a good advice. Good parents teach their children by showing examples and like demonstrating them who they are to be, like who they should be. Um, I don't know what's perfect. We all make mistakes. Um, but those are their lessons. Um, a verse I'm gonna go to, if you guys can go with me, is Genesis 6, chapter 6, verse 9. Yeah, 6 9. And it says, "This is the account." Okay. Genesis 6 9 is basically the story of Noah. Um, and it's talking about how he built the ark and how God talked to him and how he listened. Um, many when he told everyone that God was gonna flood the earth and that he was gonna do a cleaning so there would be nothing bad left behind. Everybody thought he was crazy. Everybody thought he was like, "Oh no, this guy's insane. No one, he doesn't know what he's talking about." But mainly, he was just being used by God. He didn't care what other people were saying. He just stood and stayed on the main idea what God was telling him and was telling him to do, and that's what he stayed with. on chapter 6 verse 22 it says, so Noah did everything exactly as God has commanded him. He did absolutely everything. He didn't leave nothing behind. He didn't tell God. He's like, oh, okay, God, you know what? I'm just gonna do this. I don't want to do this because people are gonna start talking about me. He did it. He just did it all. He didn't care what anyone else said. He got his wife. He got his son. His three sons, which was Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Um, and he got them and he put them in the boat, on the ark. And then he got the animals and he paired them up to two, which were female and male. Yeah, I guess. and he put them on the boat because that's all God told him to do. He listened to God's voice. Um, I'm gonna go to Genesis 6:22. I'm gonna go to Hebrews 11:7, chapter 11, verse 7. And it says, it was by faith that Noah built a large boat to save his family from the flood. He obeyed God, who warned him about things that had never happened before. By his faith, Noah condemned the rest of the world, and he received the righteousness that comes by faith. It was by faith, and it also says, it was by faith that Abraham obeyed when God called him to leave home and go to another land that God would give him as his inheritance. He went without knowing where he was going. And even when he reached the land God promised him he lived there by faith for he was like a foreigner living in tents, and so did Isaac and Jacob, who inherited the same promise. Um, there are many other different people in the Bible that God used, that God talked to, that God healed, and many more stuff. Because God did many miracles, many blessings. He blessed those who needed to be blessed and wanted to be blessed, or the ones he felt that needed to be blessed. I know that listening to God's voice at times can be hard. I know because, let's be honest, some of us, well, mainly all of us, I know that we all go through times and we're just like, God, I don't hear you. God, you're not there with me. Or, or God, I need to hear you. I need to be guided by you. Or there's just something about it that we just don't hear God at that moment. And that's when all we have to do is just get on our knees, cry out to God, and just pray. That's mainly all. That's all God looks for. Because when you do that, he sees that you really want him. I'm sorry. There are many people. There are many people outside that do not know about God. Don't know if God listens to them. Don't know if like God even talks to them. They think everything is impossible. And mainly, they at times don't even have faith. And what faith is the substance we cannot see, believing the unseen. And that's what we as believers we have. We have to believe to see. Yes, there you go. We have to believe without seeing and trusting in God. Just this, if you desire to listen to God, desire to just want to be in His presence, the key, the only key to it is prayer, is getting on your knees. Doesn't matter where, your room, church, your your car. God's gonna hear you one way or another. And if you want to hear God, then you'll hear Him there also. And this is all I have.
Amen. Praise God for Beatriz and her message and trusting in God. Hey, it doesn't matter what people think about you, what people say about you. It's about what God thinks about you. Don't let the world define you. All right? Let God define who you are. Listen, David, people defined him by his size because he was a shepherd boy. Because he didn't fit the mold of a king. Because he didn't fit the mold of a fighter. They were defining him by what they saw, through the outside. But what God does not look at the outside. God does not look at the appearance. Okay, He looks at the heart. It doesn't matter how people define you. It's what God says about you. It's the anointing that you have. The thing is, when your name is called, like, you're ready. So I give props to Beatriz because just like when they called David, hey, he didn't say, well, I'm not ready for the battle. That's not what I do. That's not my thing. I'm a shepherd boy. But he said, bring it on, because as when you're living for God, you have to be ready for everything. You have to take courage. It's not that when you accept God as your Lord and Savior, when you live for Jesus, you always have to be ready. All right, if you take a U-turn, God put you in a position, all right, for a reason, and all you have to do is trust in Him. That example of buying a gallon of milk, that was crazy. God, why gallon of milk in the middle of the night? But you just trusted in God. And what happened, He blessed somebody that needed something at that point. Trusting in God sometimes is the craziest thing. But you just have to do it. You just have to trust in Him. You might say it doesn't make any sense. Listen, a lot of things in the Bible didn't make any sense. All right? It didn't make any sense. But when they listened to God and they put, all right, their trust in Him into action, then things made a lot of sense. And so serving in God, you just have to, listen, you have to live crazy. Because a lot of things are not going to make sense. But what do you have to do? What do you have to do? Trust in God. Okay? It reminds me of when you say you just got to hear the voice of God. And so does God talks to you and you're like, okay, let's just go on with the program. But if you recall, there's something that we miss in the Gospels, that when Jesus finished feeding the 5,000 people and He told His disciples, hey, let's go, get in the boat and meet me on the other side, right? When the disciples get on the boat and they take off, they leave Jesus behind. Jesus is going to go do His thing. He's going to go pray. He dismissed the people. Then He goes up to pray, whatever. And then a storm comes, and they all get scared. They all like, oh my God, we're all going to die here, and this and that. And then they think they see a ghost, and it's actually Jesus walking on water. And Peter calls out, he's like, Jesus, if it's you, let me go to you. Right? So Jesus is like, it's me, Peter. He's like, come on. and he starts walking on water, right? And everybody, that teaches the story is always bagging on Peter and how he fell on water because he kept, he put his eyes didn't stay focused on Jesus and whatever. But I don't see anybody else walking on water but Peter. So he did. But that wasn't the point. The point is that they weren't gonna die. The point is that nothing was gonna happen because Jesus had already promised in the beginning, before they even got in the water, to see him on the other side. And when Jesus says something, hey, if he says he's gonna meet you on the other side, you're gonna make it to the other side. But sometimes you forget about the things he said or the things he promised, and you get so rattled up in the occasion that you think that's it. That's it. Like, I'm gonna drown here. This is what my life is. This is where it ends right here. Wait a minute. You forgot. You forgot Jesus told you that he was gonna meet you on the other side. But sometimes you forget the little things. Listen, God gives you a word, and a year from now, 6 months from now, you're drowning in a puddle of water. You're in a puddle of water and you're drowning, and the enemy is laughing at you. How in the world are you going to drown in a puddle of water where he doesn't even cover your shoes and he's laughing at you? But God's like, come on, son, you're just in a puddle of water. He's like, I promised you that you were going to make it to the other side. I promised you that you were going to be over there. I promised you that you were going to make it to the promised land. Yeah. But what do you have to do? Trust in him. Listen to God's voice. Like Beatriz said in the very beginning, how do you listen to God's voice? Sometimes it doesn't make sense, and you just have to do it. You just have to do it. And the closer you get to God, the more intimate you become with God, his voice just becomes clear. Here, let me give you an example. Me and my wife, we've been married 15 years now. And my wife doesn't have to physically talk to me so I can understand what you're saying. My wife can tell me something from back there just with her eyes, and I know what she's saying. My wife can tell me that she wants something, when we're at home, for me to get her something or to do something without her even telling me. I know, because we have a strong relationship. We have an intimate relationship. I already know without her even asking. It's the same thing with the Lord. When you constantly have a close relationship with God, when you're intimate with him in prayer every single day, it becomes very easy to hear God's voice in the midst of things. But people don't hear God's voice because they don't spend enough time with him. If you spend enough time with him, then you'll hear his voice in everything. You'll be walking into it. You'll be at a restaurant. And you'll hear God's voice speak to you. But the reason why you don't hear his voice is because you don't spend time with him. I guarantee you start spending time with him, you'll hear God's voice in you. And listen, in your life won't be the same. You'll start making right decisions. You'll start making the right choices. Because why? Because God is speaking to you all the time, and you're learning to trust in him. And not only that, every time you're going to take a step of faith, you're like, God, I'm doing this knowing that you're by my side. And the word of God says, hey, if God is with you, then who can be against you? What do you have to do? It's trust in him. You don't walk on water because you trust him. You trust in him. All right, fear came. He saw the storm, and he got under the water. But listen, all you have to do is just trust him and keep your eyes focused on him. And even if you go under the water, always know that God's hand is there to pick you right back up. All right? But what you have to do is continue to trust in him each and every day. I'm going to invite the band to come up here. The word of God says, trust in the Lord and do not lean on your own understanding. Listen, if you lean on your own understanding, you're heading to disaster. Because God's things, sometimes we don't understand. Sometimes they don't make sense. And God says, hey, listen, you might not understand what I'm doing now, but you will later. Don't lean on your own understanding. Because if you lean on your own understanding, then it is not going to make sense. You can uncover it. That's going to happen. So I'm going to invite you guys to stand up or come to the front. Come to the front.